What's going on, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Al & K Show. Today we have a very special guest in the room, Mr. Bret Johnson right here. Bret sold over 2,000 homes in the last, 20 years or so?
20 years December.
20 years in December, over $400 million in sales. We're going to find out more how he did that. But let's start from the beginning stages, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
What intrigued you to get into the real estate, man?
Well, my mom had been an agent out of Colorado for about 30 years, and so I always enjoyed watching her put deals together. Like, to me, that was the coolest thing, just that, going back and forth negotiating. So I actually kind of knew early on when I went to ASU out of Colorado, out of high school, that this is what I wanted to do. So I partied and had fun at ASU. I knew I was going to get my real estate license anyways, and I had a good time. But my mom had helped me kind of seek out a mentor in Arizona, and I came across Lester Cox. You know him well.
That's right, from Craig Proctor days.
Coaching, the legend, if you will. He's still doing it, if you can believe it.
He's still selling real estate?
No, he's still coaching, obviously.
He's still coaching, right on.
Crazy,
good for him.
But so Lester took me under his wing. I was a senior at ASU, just did an internship with him, got my license, and I got to work under my current partner, Becky, now as her intern. She did all the transaction management, so I got to see the back end, not my forte by any means. I was the, front end sales, if you will, but it was a good experience there. I worked with Lester for over a decade. Really taught me everything. Started with zero sphere out here. I knew no one, right?
Yeah.
I always joke, my friends were doing keg stands still at ASU. They were not buying houses, so we were trying to figure out how I got leads and,
So you were 20 years old, 21 years old that time?
21, I think.
21 years old.
Yep,
did you have a job before, like real estate? Were you doing anything?
No, I was actually valet parking in a couple big steakhouses in Phoenix, Scottsdale area during college. So I still actually did that for about a year and a half while I was getting my first license, building a business. But Lester was incredible. I mean, and his wife, Pat, she ran the office side, were truly my mentors. I owe my whole business to them for sure. Come 2012, I took over the brokerage at the time. We were running something kind of a boutique because we were big into REO, as you remember. And we had two locations. We had about, I think, 50 agents between the two at the max. Got to do the designated broker position for that. I was a sales manager, throughout the process too. Not for me, man. We were talking about earlier.
Wait a minute. I thought your experience was phenomenal during that time. Yeah?
Right?
Did you enjoy it or no?
I did. I mean, it was fun to do it, but let's face it, right? The designated broker position takes a certain mentality that I just was not having a good time with. So in 2016, I took, I think, about 27 of our agents, and we split off, did our own thing at Realty Executives at the time. I've been there ever since. And we currently run Realty Network Group. It's just a team, and we're all the Mesa office currently. So Gotcha. Yeah. Awesome. So what got you into kind of like a team a leader type of a mode? I had a privilege to interview Joshua Smith not so long ago, Templeton Walker, George Lawton. Nice. I mean, they're all got big teams, right? Like, so you got a big team as well? Not anymore.
Not anymore? You're
funny.
done?
The most we've ever had was about probably 32, and it was originally when we came over from the brokerage side. It was interesting. I enjoyed, and we were talking earlier, and we'll probably touch on this, the tactician side of this. I still sell, I produce, I enjoy that actually. What I find least fun anymore is kind of the management side of it. So I have Becky, she runs all of our operations, a lot of our transaction departments and things too. I get to coach, mentor these agents. That's really my passion there, but I still produce. We currently had 10 agents as of this year starting in, and we'll talk a little, but we're kind of transitioning into different models currently. My vision with it was really just to, because I'd worked with Lester, right? So for 10 years, it was, not to say his way or the highway, but he ran a great
tight
system,
ship,
right?
You
have to when you're doing that and the type of volume he did. Same with the guys you just mentioned. I mean, they run mega teams in a true system. I'm not that structured. I didn't like it. I felt like if I could provide value, obviously leads to an extent, the service, and really help the agents brand themselves and be their own, but just dial into our network for that support or culture, if you will. That was kind of the vision behind it. And so we've had ups and downs, tons of trials and tribulations along the way. But I found my passion is really just helping those agents, coach them along, and then get to see them grow their own business, knowing that behind the scenes, I still have a little bit of say in how that's happened. And that's been kind of a fun process for me. So interesting.
So you're saying is you're phasing out of the team leader, the team owner, phase of your business.
Yep.
So what happened, man?
Well, I think one thing with the market shifts, right? Profitability is number one.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of misconceptions about team leads. Everyone says you start a team, you want to get your next level of real estate. That's what it takes, right?
Yeah.
And when you look at truly behind the curtains, as we've talked about, the money isn't always there. And the cost per lead and some of the stuff that it takes to run this now at a high level just makes it difficult unless you're still producing. So I always had a problem being able to step out, kind of like Lester had, offer that 50-50 split or whatnot, and get enough production out of my agents where I was able to get out of sales. And that was ultimately the big goal in it. But what I really found in doing this for the last 10 years, my passion still is helping my clients. Like, I love that. And I don't know, for some reason, all my friends, they've all burnt out and they don't want anything to do with it anymore. I'm not that way. Like, I still enjoy, even if it's showing a house, which I don't do as much anymore when I go showing agents. Like that to me, or sitting across from a seller at the table, like I enjoy that still. And I don't know if it's the deal side of it or just the communication. I'm a people person, but so I kind of missed that. And I felt like my bigger frustrations, the stuff that made me less happy in the day, was dealing with the agents, the stuff, the negativity of the market and the blame sometimes. And I just felt like I don't need that as much. Let me just go refocus my efforts on stuff that makes me happy. So we've actually dialed our team down, and I'll talk as needed because as of today, I'll be making some switches. But we're merging our team with another company, and essentially being able to offer our agents ability to move in.
That's Kenny Klaus' team, right?
Yep, so we'll be moving to Real, just
Yep.
finalizing a few things.
Yep.
Kenny's been a great friend of mine for a while and obviously runs a tight ship too. So I wanted a place where my agents could land, they could have that support, those leads, and I can still do what I'm looking for, but this still allows me to have that agent attraction growth, that hybrid model that's kind of the rave now out there, where I can still coach some of his agents. I can offer ability to train. I've been doing a lot with buyer broker trainings around the Valley recently.
Yeah.
And I still enjoy that. I just don't like the day-to-day of, the trenches of wanting it more than some of my agents did. And I think it's been refreshing to be able to slowly just step out of that, get back into my focus, and really just find what I'm happy with. I always love Tempe's, like less noise, bigger margins, right? Like that to me is what's important now in this point in my life.
Absolutely. And listen, I've been there. Like I remember my first couple of years as a team leader, I blew up my team like 3 times.
Done it
like,
7.
What the F am I doing, right? Like, because like they just don't get it. Like, and I just couldn't really understand, and when you're small, also when you have like 10 agents or 15 agents, like you're the guy.
Right.
Like there are no like a lot of buffers, right? So like they're coming to you for the most part, right? So you're dealing not only with the business drama, but you're also dealing with a lot of personal drama and all the things that in between, if you think about it.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I completely get, where you're coming from. So you said right now, so you're kind of transitioning to a new model, a hybrid model. So you're still going to be kind of like mentoring and coaching your former team members and probably some other agents.
And
right.
Be able to team with Kenny. I can help his team with a lot of that stuff. He and I work together now on kind of agent attraction models and ability to just kind of show what value we have out there. Obviously, his volume and number of transactions running a system like that is so much easier for me to dial into from a recruiting or agent attraction, we want to call it that. So I found some value there, but honestly, man, it was just about making me happy again. And
I think that's the most important thing.
We talked at BrokerCon, like I was finding myself, and that was the big thing I needed. And it's taken a year and a half to make this decision.
To figure this out.
Literally as of this morning.
Yeah, I mean, probably one of the most important questions you want to ask yourself is like, what is it actually that I want?
Right.
100%. Right. And it takes time. And in your situation, almost took 2 years to like find out like, okay, this is exactly what I want.
Correct.
Right. And now it's like, it's like, all right, how do I go about it? How do I get it? Right. Yep. That's the second question. So now you know what you're doing, right? You said, hey, I want to be in production. I enjoy going out there and working with the sellers. I enjoy working with the buyers, but not necessarily showing homes because you got the showing agents or showing assistants that are going out there and doing that. And you told me before we started this podcast, like it's a very profitable model. So how do you go about that?
Well, back in the heyday, right, you'd have agents, you're giving away 50% of the commission, all the lead gen. So we always had a 10 off the top, 50-50 type split, which is the true way you really have to do it if you want to see profitability. It's just harder to recruit to that with so many, smaller better models out there for agents, right? And as the market shifted with less transactions, I'm spending the same amount, let alone my sanity, to try to keep them going, that it just didn't make sense. On top of that,
were you buying leads?
Oh yeah. We've always
What were you
done
buying?
pay-per-click.
Pay-per-click? Is it Google or Facebook?
So mostly Google, I found. We did shift a little back to Facebook end of last year. We ended up having a better return on it, oddly enough.
Got it.
I was with Investor, an investor in Sync, so we were the original 7th site ever.
Yeah.
Just about getting rid of that next month, actually, and transitioning. But that said, it's not as profitable to pay for everything. Try to focus on getting those agents to really up and running. And in a model like that, you're always stuck kind of that newer agent, right? Which really wasn't the vision I had with RNG. I wanted it more of a place that an established agent could come into, leverage systems, leverage the support, and then just go sell themselves and double their business. And that's really where I found passion. So I've explored with some friends of ours through the community here of just showing agents, and kind of got that idea. And really that's been the game changer for me. I don't have to go open doors every Saturday, right? I still do to an extent, and I enjoy, some agents or some clients of mine, but I have a few like preferred agents across the valley that I can send it to. They'll open it up. I'm paying, per door, if you want to call it that, and not giving away 50% of the commission.
Interesting.
On top of that, we always did done for you. So I was doing offer paperwork sometimes at night. We had systems in place where we made everything so easy on our agents that I think that also drove us insane, thinking, all right, if we take that off their plate, that gives them more freedom to go do on more appointments, more prospecting.
More business.
We know that always works. It's F off a little more over there and then struggle later. So we're so systemized. Becky, my partner, is incredible admin and actual operations standpoint that we decided that we don't really need a team and all those headaches. We can run this with her and I, and then just some showing agents to help me. I do have one agent that I'm going to kind of mentor to be more of my listing assistant, if you will. So she'll come out and kind of take the secondary appointments. She'll stay after, do the video walkthroughs and things, and then send that to Becky and our VA team to be able to do it. And then I'll just rinse and repeat kind of that. So I don't know, until I get burnt out in production, I guess we'll see how this goes. But I've been enjoying, man. It's been a refreshing change, I guess, for me.
So I'm fascinated about that model. I used that model to a degree when just before I kind of like launched my team, if you will, I had showing assistants. I had 4 showing assistants during that time. I was paying anywhere between $25 to $35 per door. But I want to know exactly what you're doing. What does the process look like? And first of all, like identifying them, then, paying them out, right? Are they doing showings, or are they doing more than just showings?
Good question. So it started using Show On Me, actually, which was that app. It got a little pricey because it used to get around 20 to 30, right? Now I'm finding you got to be around that 50 or more to get somebody to really step up. Granted, as the market shifted, we're seeing
that's $50 per door.
Correct, per door.
Interesting.
But what I was able to do early on is find some dedicated folks. So I have, for instance, I'm on Mesa. I have someone in Buckeye that I always go to. North Valley and Anthem, I've got somebody there. So now I can just ship out to them, hey, I've got these folks coming. Now, obviously, with the changes and everyone being on buyer brokers now, it's super easy. Luckily, my mentor, Lester, and from Craig Proctor, I've known nothing else but that. So I've always had retainer fees collected. I've had buyer brokers signed. It was easy for me to let somebody go do the door opening because I wasn't worried that I was going to get the client sniped from me. So it's really now just a managing of expectations. So what I've found is if I can have a Zoom consultation with the buyer client or have them come by my office, I let them know that, hey, we're a team here. I work with agents around the valley that'll get them in within an hour if they need. If I'm tied up on an appointment and can't get there, I don't want them to miss out on the home that's perfect for them, right? Yeah. Remember a few years back where you had to be there in an hour?
Yeah, exactly.
And these folks see more homes than I do anyways, so they're going to be more knowledgeable about, the details of it. When they tell them that they kind of like it, the agent will do a video tour for me, so I get to see it. And then I sit down with a strategy session, and that's really where we get to figure out where we're going to make the offer and kind of structure it for the needs of the client. So it's just to manage it. Like I always get the agents come to me like, how do you what's being said. Well, how do you not get them to want to go work with there or not get the service? And it all comes down to that first consultation.
Yeah, setting those expectations.
And also following up after, right? How'd you go with John or whatever it is? What'd you guys think of that one? Is there anything we can adjust? And so I am engaged in that avenue of it, but it's such a time savings, especially on weekends, that I can go, make more calls and whatnot. And I still hit the phones. I still enjoy, oddly enough, that side of it. But I'd rather sit in air conditioning doing that
100%.
than, opening doors at 120 in the west side of town.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my third year in real estate, like I was doing most of the listings, right? In the third year, I started buying PPC leads.
Nice.
And the first 4 or 5 months, I hated it. But then finally, I started seeing the results, right? But then I hated it again because I was driving around town and the valley I'm talking about and just showing homes. It's like, dude, this is just such a waste of my time going all the way to AJ for like $150,000 house.
Oh, I remember those days too. Right?
So I love that model. So like, let's say for instance, you have a buyer that wants to see like multiple homes, 2, 3, 4 homes at the same time, the same day. So you just pay like $40-$50 per house, or you negotiate something that is.
So I kind of try to treat it as hourly, right? They're independent contractors. They're not W-2. So I got to be careful, obviously, how it's structured. But I have the agent set up all the aligned showings or showing time on it.
So Becky's doing that, right?
So Becky can help me, but it's usually my showing agent because I've worked now with these folks where I have enough trust. I just say, hey, the Smiths are wanting to see some properties. Will you even reach out? Or I text them over what I was sent. I still have access to our portals, or we use Sync right now for what they're looking for. So I'll give them, here's what they're looking to see. They're available in this time, and I'll even let them coordinate with my clients. So I kind of give that warm intro, and that's the key. Make sure the client feels service. They set up the line showing, which oddly enough takes a lot of time nowadays, especially if it is multiple homes. They'll even run the comps for me in a pinch when I need help to kind of get a game plan of like, here's a price per square foot in the area. Here's kind of what they're going for, because they always ask that when you're around. But really, when they come back, they'll text me over and send me the video if they're like, the Smiths really love this one. So I then reach out to the listing agent. I do everything from that point on, because I think that's really my specialty, is why they hired me is the negotiations, right? And I feel like I have to have that communication with the agent, and we start off on a good foot, especially when I'm going to be delivering an offer later, potentially.
Hey, real quick, if you're a broker owner or a team owner and looking to grow and scale your business by bringing in more agents, i.e. recruiting more agents to your organization, I got to tell you about Modern Day Brokerage. Modern Day Brokerage is something that I started about 2 years ago with my partner, Tristan Horn, and we're currently working with 120 clients. These are broker owners. Some of them are team owners as well, where on average with our services, they hire 4 to 5 agents every single month. So if you, again, a business owner, a broker owner, or a team owner that is serious about growing your business by predictable agent attraction and recruiting methods, you can book a call with us by clicking on the link below for a free private business consultation meeting with me or one of my team members. Talk to you then. Back to the show. So how do you deal with the recent changes? Right, with the commissions and all of that. Who's asking, how much are you paying?
No one. So I personally don't care. I've always had that mindset of I'm going to work with who I feel comfortable, who sees the value in me. And it was, again, I had no bad habits. I started with no idea that this isn't what you do. Lester taught me you set up buyer consultations. So I've never had that. And granted, I don't have Zillow or any of these, I want to see X, Y, Main Street. I'll meet you at the door. I've always found it was harder for me to go, say, off a sign call, meet somebody, show them that when they didn't like the home. I'm always associated with that home at that point. So I'm chasing them down the driveway. I can help you find something else, but they're
moved on, right?
So I use scripting, a lot of the UCB script we taught in Proctor, to get them, whether it's that raw lead or a referral, and I book a buyer consultation based on some type of offer or value. And then from there, I sign them up and we determine where we go from there.
Gotcha. So now buyer broker agreement, you're going to have your fee.
So I've always had my fee set. I have a retainer fee I collect up front.
So you have a retainer fee as well. How much is the retainer? $495.
I've gone as high as $995.
So they pay you up front, $495.
So we collect $495. My brokerage at the time, I even did credit cards. They just quit that last year for some reason. I was paying for the service of it. So I'm not sure why, but it is a little harder now when no one has checks, right? So we have to kind of either take it at the first showing sometimes, or we get the process started and we say, let's just test drive this. When we go to want to see that first home, I'll have you bring a check at that point. So I also sometimes will waive that if it was a referral from a good client. And then I tell that buyer, hey, any referrals, the Smiths, I value their referral. I'm going to go ahead and waive this. But what I'd ask in return is if you know anyone, family, friends, coworkers, if you send them to me, I'll go ahead and waive their retainer fee as well. So I've kind of created this like endless stream of they feel like they're getting a massive value. And again, it's money. I mean, we looked at back last year. You can make upwards of $495 doing nothing.
You can make another 15, 20 grand doing
at least,
so.
Right? I think it was about 12 we collected. And that's just for the privilege of getting to work with this type thing. And it's a business, right? It offsets some of those fixed costs that we all run into. So long story short, we collect that, we set up the buyer broker, and then it's just a matter of managing from that meeting. Hey, when you want to see a home, I'm going to have you set up with my team. I call them partners of mine. They're not necessarily at the brokerage or whatever.
Right.
And they're going to get you in within an hour in case I'm tied up on an appointment. We don't want you to miss out on the home of your dreams. And then once you're ready to find that one, I'll step back in, and that's going to be my specialty. So it's been fun. Like I really haven't had a lot of hiccups with it. I do sometimes miss seeing some of these, and you always get that wonder, like if there's a big crack down the wall that they tell them about, because I care about them. But it can be systemized to this, and to not give away 50% commission for an OSA that I was already doing the offers, I was doing everything anyways, plus paying for that lead. It just doesn't make financial sense when it's really not taking my time away anymore.
Interesting. But during the inspection, you're still going there, right?
Well, I always used to think I can't change the outcome of that inspection if I'm there or not, right? But Proctor 101, if we can't change the outcome, we should delegate. I will say, though, that I think that is especially in the last few years, that is a make or break of that deal. And my job is to make sure that they feel comfortable with it. If I can be there and help manage expectations, I think it is a key part to this. So I do go now. I will sometimes use the showing agent to be there if I am tied up, but we usually have enough time that I can schedule that in. And then I'll go to the final walkthrough / signing, obviously. So the walkthrough I'll have the showing agent do, but I will be at the signing. I want them to know I was there when we crossed the finish line. So we have gifts and take the photos and get that chance. So it's interesting. I always get the question, like, do you give the service? Do you really have that ability to have that relationship? And I frankly think I talk to them more because I'm always following up than I did. I show them, and then I get in that trap of, they'll just call me when they want to see the next. I wasn't actively staying top of mind. And so we've found some good success with it. And, my top clients, I still go open doors, and I enjoy that. But
especially if it's at our $1 million range.
Of course, I'll touch you some of those. So I do a lot of showings on Saturday. You might see my Instagram. We always do the House Hunters show that I'm there. So I at least go see for once for that.
I got coaching clients that ask me, hey, are you still in production? And I was like, well, it kind of depends.
What's the price?
It's like, if it's a listing, I don't know, $1 million to $125. I'll be a listing agent on it. I think I can handle it. Listen, who doesn't want $25,000, $30,000 commission check? All right, so wow. So with these showing agents, right? Do you give them any type of a bonus, like after the closing? Like I used to give them like a small bonus, like $300 or $200, whatever it is.
So I haven't figured out, maybe I just need to talk to brokers how they could pay through that. So I've always kind of just done something of gratitude, right? I want to be careful.
Give them a gift card.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I have one where he ends up getting the car service pick him up. I was curious when I heard about your background in that. I have a driver, so I always have him come, set up a time, and he'll go pick him up, take him and his wife to the steakhouse or whatever. So I give them kind of an experience, if you will, on that. It's going to cost me $500 or whatever, but it depends on price point. It depends on how fast it was. And some of them, I'm paying basically $50 on average a house. So if they're dragging out a little bit, we're talking like, hey, it's one thing to go just show a bunch of homes, but what can we do to make sure that they find value in this and we're not just wasting everyone's time? If it's a long time like that, I kind of been wondering, well, you got a lot of money on that. Do we need to do a ton of bonus? So I always take care of them. It's just, there's nothing set right now. But I would say at least 300 to 500 needs to be kind of the sweet spot, I think.
I love it.
Just to make them feel appreciated. And I do appreciate them.
So have you calculated on average how many showings they do before, they get them on a contract?
So I haven't. And this is something we just started doing probably March, as I realized I got to track this. Because some of them I feel like, shit, they've been doing this for like 6 months. What is going on here, And then I'm talking to my client all the time. They love that agent. And I just feel like, well, you're just going out and having coffee or what's going on here, right? So
enjoying each other,
Yeah, so I need to start tracking that better. And it's something with new KPIs that we're going to kind of look at as we transition. But so far it's worked well. I kind of still think like, shit, I was giving away tens of thousands on a model to an OSA. I can kind of have them show a shit ton of houses before it actually is worse off than what I was doing before. And my life is back, right? I can spend time with my family. I'm not out, again, in 120 degrees showing in Buckeyes. So,
most definitely. And when Bret talks about OSA, he's talking about outside sales agent. That's, again, Craig Proctor right there. Okay. Awesome. Very good. So that's the model that you're running right now.
Currently, yep.
And you're going to have an assistant listing agent, and she's going to be there kind of like your backup just in case, right? Or maybe some lower price listings as well.
Yeah, we're kind of training some newer agents, so we're trying to figure out how we do
brand
it.
new?
Yeah, I just wanted to have a mentor, a mentee, if you will, that I could kind of walk through. I still have a passion for that, and I think that's the one thing that I wake up some mornings like, am I doing the right thing here? I mean, it's profitable, and I'm happy, but am I really giving back to the agents? Because don't get me wrong, like that is something I really enjoyed, running teams and brokerages. So it'll be interesting as I transition to real and get to do some of that around the valley with other, agents, certainly with Kenny's team even. It's been fun to just kind of collaborate. And I love that about our industry, right? We're all independent contractors. We all run our own businesses, but there's so many ideas out there, let alone an abundance of deals to do that we get to kind of have the best of both worlds and talk to everyone.
Yeah.
And I have liked that with Real so far for a culture standpoint too.
Yeah. So how do you get your business? I mean, look, you did over 2,000 transactions with your partner. Right. Some of it obviously initially was the REO business and all of that, short sales and all of that.
So she would oversee a lot. I would do some early in my career for 10 years, my name wasn't even on it.
Right.
Lester took all the credit, and it wasn't
But let's say last 11 or 12 years, 13 years or whatever it is.
All past client referral. So client referrals. At my peak with Sync, when we were having 20 plus agents, we'd bring in 500-600 leads a month. Probably wasn't even enough with that many, but they don't all take PPC. It's a 3-year process. I mean, I think NAR's buyer profile said from the time they start thinking to buy to when they pull the trigger, you need a system in place to nurture that for upwards of 3 years.
Yeah.
And so agents can't survive brand new in that model, right? They either have to do the expireds, the FSBOs to get up and running, open houses.
Yeah.
But for me, it was a matter of I had such a good book of business. And then also Lester was incredible. I mean, basically gave me a database when I transitioned, the ability to take over what I'd worked with there. And I think my best year, I did like 78 transactions
by yourself
under Lester there, right? Yeah. So I had probably going into when I transitioned about 500 clients, leveraging past clients and referrals.
Yeah.
So that is truly our bread and butter. I don't take any other leads right now. We do some Google local service ads. I've got a Rocket Mortgage kind of thing going where they're sending us some referrals currently. But my stuff's always been taking care of our clients, that client for life mentality. We run events, we run 40 plus touch points, and really have systemized that, which luckily just results in people calling me now, which is kind of fun.
Got it. So how big is your database right now with your past clients?
We have with past clients, active that are in our A, B, and C is about 600 right now.
Out of those 600, how many are kind of yield or result in transactions on a yearly basis?
So the top A's, I've got only about 110, and so that we're touching on those. But those are going to be ones that'll give me at least one or two referrals or repeat business each year.
Okay.
So on average, we've run about 98 deals a year across the board since I started with the R&G. And again, I'm doing over 50 to 60% of that. Team obviously has grown and come back down. So really, it's just a matter of just loving on our clients, enjoying that. And I actually enjoy that, oddly enough. I don't think I do a good enough job, but apparently they call me and we still sell a few here and there. So it works out all right.
All right. So most of your clients are coming from referrals, past clients. All the pay-per-click stuff was primarily going to the team and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
and it was just to help feed leads and stuff. But
Got it.
obviously my business was built on that too. And then obviously we had some REO buyers that we leveraged well, as opposed to many of those REO agents
Yeah.
that didn't do any buyer business.
Yeah.
And then I had some top investors too that were buying 100 plus that I've been able to sell again all of those homes. So that's not too shabby either when you get one or two of those clients, which is fun.
Interesting. So you just transitioned to real brokerage, right?
As of this morning.
As of this morning. Okay. So I had Templeton here not so long ago. He joined Real. And I got some friends at Real. I got some friends at EXP as well.
Yep.
I'm sure you probably considered both of them, right?
And that's the toughest thing. I know so many agents
Right.
and at the same, and it's tough to kind of find out.
If you don't mind sharing, I mean, I don't care. I mean, what were the reasons why you decided to go to Real versus EXP?
I will say EXP, I truly, and no offense to Real, as I just started, right? I'm not there. I don't know what to say yet, but I would say that that's probably where the pros truly go. The teams, the ones that want to increase and run that system.
The EXP?
EXP.
Okay.
I can't think of a better set of mentors that I've seen over there, and watching people like Jennifer Weiner, for instance, Proctor, take a business of what she was doing and exponentially grow that in a system. The way they collaborate, I mean, incredible. And I love Kevin and Fred and several agents.
I was actually at their mastermind last month in Vegas.
I missed it.
Yep.
I missed a call from Fred actually today on the way over. So that's been kind of gut wrenching to me. And who knows where the future holds. Like I really love all those guys and gals, and that's the tough thing in this industry when you know so many people. To me, it was finding a place in around my area, because being a virtual team or a virtual brokerage, right? There's no offices. And that was one negative. I have a great office at Real Execs. I mean, the support I had from Real Execs, bar none, some of the best. The owners are fraternity brothers of mine. I loved our designated broker, and nothing negative to say. They are incredible. One of the best brokerages I've ever been around. And I wouldn't say it would be somewhere I wouldn't go back to eventually. Who knows, right? But for me, it was about culture and getting into bigger rooms. So I was at a point where, I was in the top 10 at that brokerage all the time in the state. I wasn't growing, and I was kind of plateauing, even though we were switching models for the last 3 years. Additionally, we just didn't have a lot of growth in that Mesa office where I'm currently at. And I felt like if I want to really grow and take this to the next level, I've got to surround myself with bigger rooms, right? Or bigger, just winners, if you will.
Yeah.
And then I cared about my team. I didn't want to just give up on everything and shut it down and say, I'm going here, you guys do your own things. So we explored Kelly Cook, good buddy of mine, and I feel, that's somebody that I would highly recommend in that Scottsdale area, but it ended up being him in that North Mid Scottsdale. All my team, Southeast Valley. It was, where can we find a culture and a structure that surrounds where I can still mentor, do that, but also now kind of just do my own thing with Becky, my partner, and really grow on what we were having fun and just, enjoying again. So Kenny was highly recommended. I talked to some others, and I'd known Kenny from before, but he and I hit it off well and just really had some good alignments in where we wanted to take the mentorship, where we could kind of help grow maybe on that agent attraction. And frankly, if I don't know enough to say yay or nay yet, but the culture of that and what I've seen just in the leadership with Sharon and Tamer, I think's his name, the CEO. Tamir. And just the idea of work hard, be kind, right? And that to me is my mentality. It's something that I aligned with, and I just felt like this was the right move at the time. Again, just did it this morning. We will find out. It's 2 years in the making to decide where I want to go.
This has been going on for 2 years?
Well, just that idea. And we talked at BrokerCon of like, where am I happy? Where am I going to go with this? Do I build another brokerage? I was, after leaving your conference, I was about to go all in on that again too. And I surround myself with a lot of big brokerage owners, Lions Den Group, for instance. They got hundreds of agents. They're always recruiting and doing that. I kind of like that, but it just wasn't my passion anymore. And I figured, I can do what I'm doing here, enjoy the production side, but still have that mentorship and coaching, and now be able to grow kind of a hybrid model by just doing what I'm enjoying. Yep. Obviously, the stock and that stuff comes separate.
Sure.
We'll see. I mean, I can't say yay or nay or good or bad about it.
That's interesting. So who reached out to who? Did you reach out to Kenny, or Kenny reached out to you?
I reached out to Kenny.
Oh, you did?
I'd originally reached out to Kelly because I had that. And that's one thing I really kind of, not say regret, but he's awesome guy, and he and I get along well. It was just a matter of kind of location and the feel of where my business wanted to be, and I needed to be in an office and stuff. So be able to go into Kenny's office now, which is 10 minutes from my house, have that growth of, he's got 20 some agents, see that life that I never had, or that, enthusiasm around me. I mean, you look at your guys' stuff, you have people here and stuff going. I needed that again, and we just hadn't had that at our current office. So
interesting.
But yeah, I reached out to him, and it was some recommendations. Ryan Robeson I was on his podcast. He had kind of mentioned, here's his thoughts and things, as he talked to them all as well. And so Kenny and I hit it off, but it's been probably 6 months or so of working with Kenny and just figuring out if that's the right thing. And more so like 3, but I originally had kind of talked about it because he's only been there 6. So I remember when he first switched, and I was like, interesting.
Interesting.
And then he's under Tempe, who's a good buddy of mine too, and so have access to that. He was always getting my investment options.
Templeton?
I send him all my deals, right, like he asked for. And so to be able to have that in the line and just to kind of grow some of those, I was excited about. So again, man, we'll see if it pans out, but I'm kind of excited, and it'll be something new and refreshing at least. So
I guess what's the plan? I mean, the plan is obviously continuing, selling real estate, mentoring and coaching the agents, right? What else? Are you doing any type of like investments, flips, wholesale stuff, or any of that?
I don't do a lot of that.
None of that stuff.
I have several rentals, and I do literally just index funds. Like I'm strict on that. I don't have a ton of other like distractions, I guess. Never really had any interest in flipping or any of those type of options. I guess could learn more on wholesaling. Tempe's always like, dude, why are you giving me these? Why aren't you just buying this? To me, I still really enjoy the thrill of the deal. I enjoy the clients. And that's my passion. And really in this last year, just trying to figure out what I liked. To me, that's what I wanted to go all in on. So to run our client events, have 100 plus people at a movie and all come up hugging me like, hey, Bret, I love our house. And I just love that. And so, and it's also helped with Becky to grow. She's always been behind the scenes, like in a cubicle, right? When she was working with Lester, there was never any growth for her. And to be able to get her out to more of a front position now, where she's in our videos, she's talking to our clients. Like it's been fun to get to work with someone for literally 20 years when I was her intern. And so we're really just enjoying that ride right now. I don't know if I want a lot of other distractions. I guess we'll see. I'm sure I'll get the itch to do another deal.
I love
and
it.
all that, man.
I love it. Awesome. Here, real quick, if you're a licensed real estate agent in the state of Arizona, I want to talk to you about my brokerage, Best Homes Real Estate. Best Homes Real Estate is looking to partner with agents that are looking for better support, better tools, better resources in growing their business. If that sounds like you at all, here's what I would like you to do. All right, click on the link below, book a call with me, and I'll share with you exactly what does it look like to work with us and partner with us. Talk to you soon. Now back to the show. So let's say, for example, you're talking to like a struggling agent right now, right? Somebody who's, last few years has been rough. It's been tough, not only for new agents, but top producing agents, teams, and everything like that, brokerages. So what advice would you give someone that is, trying to kind of like get out of that rut, if you will, kind of feeling like they're stuck, they're plateaued, they're just kind of getting all discouraged with everything that is going on, all the negative news and all that BS. What would you tell someone to kind of like, I don't know, like start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel?
For me, it's always been coaching, right? A new agent to me, I think, has to find a mentor. Only because maybe that's not what I did, right? But if I didn't come across Lester or have that somehow I fall into his lap to be able to get that connection, right? I don't know where my business would be, let alone if I'd even be doing this.
Real estate,
to find that mentor as a new agent, whether it's joining a team, the splits are what they are. There's value there, but to learn and educate. And I said I worked for over a decade on a 50% split. I could have left way earlier, probably made more money. But to me, I was able to, Lester taught me how to run a business, right? And to be able to take it as truly an intern doing keg stands to a designated broker running 50 plus agents and have a mentality of a P&L and all of the stuff that comes with that you never really learn until you're in that position. I don't think there's any better way or shortcut, if you will, to do it. Now, outside of that, it's all about coaching, right? Why we went to Craig, why I'm in Tom Ferry currently. I mean, you have to surround yourself with people thinking outside the box, whether it's a motivation thing. That's one thing I like about Tom. He's definitely different than Craig. It's all, rah-rah sometimes, but there's content there. And if you dial into that ecosystem, work the surroundings, network with the agents, there's so much value that comes, let alone the motivation, I think.
Yeah.
And again, one of the reasons I'm making a switch is I got to surround myself with more people doing that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what helps you break through some of those plateaus, let alone learn what you need to do, because we all, it's not hard in our industry. It's just that things shift so fast.
Well, there's shift, right? And at times it becomes mundane, right? It becomes kind of like almost kind of routine-ish as well, right? And you kind of almost kind of get bored.
Sure.
Right? And at times, you get to the point where like, okay, what's next? Well, like you said, man, being in the rooms with people that have done what are you trying to do is like ultimate cheat code, right? It's the shortcut, right? I mean, there's that saying, proximity leaves clues. Like being in that room is definitely the way to go.
I agree,
so like I get it. I value that a lot. And again, Craig Proctor, Tom Ferry, Lester Cox. I mean, these are all like the mentors and the people that you've been in the rooms with for the past 20 years. So if you're talking to a struggling agent, right, your advice to them would be like, hey man, just get in the right rooms, get in the right environment, right, and just model after people that have done what you're trying to do,
and get rid of the ego. Right, there's so many that think I can do this on my own. I don't want to surround myself. I would have no problem. I even said, hey, I'd go join a team again if that's what it took for me to get to the point of growth, or if I was stagnant or stuck, or I'm, running out of leads or whatever. I mean, there's value in that. And the money follows, right? There's always a cost to sale, but when you look at a lifetime value of that client, there's future business, there's referrals, there's ways to make more than just people that get stuck on these splits, right? It's all about that. It's what do you want to make, and how can we get you there? And you know that as a brokerage owner. But so I think it is a lot, surround yourself. But honestly, man, a lot of it comes down to consistency and grind right now, especially in this market. If you're on the phones daily, there's certain things that work, right? Like a Joshua Smith would tell you this, and then he's
Joshua is a unicorn.
Yeah, I mean, there's no one like that.
Did you see his flex? I mean, he posted a picture like about a month ago.
I was like, I got some work to do.
I think like 99.9% of population needs to do a lot of work. That's a discipline right there. That's a consistency.
And consistency wins over time. And so it's a matter of find what you like, what you're good at, right? Like you started not knowing anything on expired. You got a lot of
lots of rejections.
Lots of rejection. Mine was internet calls. I remember my very first one. The guy James behind me is in our cubicle at Lester's office, and I literally hung up on them because they answered the phone. And I was so scared. I was like, "What do I say?" So I hung up on them, right? So he just started laughing at me. I mean, it comes with practice, and even still today, I need sometimes that kick in the ass when I'm running these calls and whatnot. But it's having the why behind this, I think, that'll drive you through those tough times. For me, my why has always been freedom, right? And I think I've had concepts of running a brokerage, having agents. I could have that freedom. I could spend time with my family. The money would follow, right? I don't need that to find the freedom. I need, obviously, the time, and I need the vehicle of income to be able to do it. But the consistency of doing the hard, mundane stuff, we always say nothing sexy in real estate. It just is a matter of doing what it takes. And that's what I think, if you have that big enough why behind it, that's going to push you through those mornings. You don't want to make the calls or come back again at 5 till 8 p.m. when you have to make the dial for dollars on call nights or whatever. Like, you got to have a burning desire for it.
Are you still doing those, by the way?
Not as much, again, because my business is so much past clients
and everything like that. So,
but
in all honesty, like if you just look at your week, right? Like from start to end, how many hours a week you work right now?
So for me, I'm still quite a bit. Like
how many hours?
And remember, I got rid of a team now, so I'm back in the trenches kind of doing it. What's interesting with this Rocket stuff, a lot of this is warm handoff leads, but I'm doing my hours of power again.
Rocket Mortgage referrals.
Fidelity hooked us up. So we're testing some stuff now, but my hours of power, I'm still running those at least Tuesday through Friday. So I made my calls all week from 9 to 10, and I sometimes will start 8:30 if I get a little
in the morning.
Yep. And I make sure I hit those. So any new leads that came in, obviously we're doing the 5 minutes, 30-second calls. We have all the fall boss stuff that's running, but it's a matter of getting my ass back in gear. And I use my coach for Tom Ferry, right? Like I said, hey, I don't need a lot of change right now. I need to kick my ass to get me back to the basics. In a market like
So hold on, you hired a coach with Tom Ferry organization to hold you accountable. Even though you've been doing this for, you've been doing this for 20 years. You're like, you sold 2,000 homes. You got a coach right now to hold you kind of accountable and kick your ass.
So Jason, funny enough, he's always trying to ask me like, what do we want to work on and stuff. I'm like, dude, I need you to just hold me accountable. And we've started now getting me back in the gym and doing the shit I need to do there too. So he's brutal. I mean, I like it. And we've got some bets going where I'm going to pay him $1,000 if I don't get certain amount of things right. Like to me, there's got to be a monetary or some kind of like pain in order for me to kick through. But it's funny enough, just needing to get back for these rocket ones, just, to show that I can get it, because it's kind of a who does the best business gets the most leads type thing they're testing. Mm-hmm. I'm on the phones every day, right? And like to me, it's kind of been fun again to get back in the saddle, if you will. So I've always had that ability to mentor agents. They would shadow me. So it's not new to me to do the work, but I haven't really had to do that type of stuff because it's all past client. So part of it also is now going to my database and touching base and using the reasons to follow up on it. But I got an 80,000 person database of sync leads, right? Like I don't need another lead ever. I got to go sift what's in there. And so we always joke our agents weren't doing what we asked them.
Dude, why don't you just hire someone that can just like call those leads?
So we were working through my lines then, guys, but kind of that Chet Black idea, the Maverick, and just having them do some of that. And I think that inside sales model is obviously the top if you can get it. It's just a tough one to maintain and train for and hire to, and the whole Proctor. So I just feel like kind of as Kurt Proctor taught, like there's no one better than I feel on the phones than me.
But it's 80,000 leads though.
True, and I'm not hitting all. I'm just saying my total database, right? Like I wouldn't need to go buy 500 leads a month ever again if I just worked.
But like I even thinking like getting a VA from Philippines, someone that actually has experience in cold outreach, and just put them on that 80,000 list.
Even just texting,
dude,
now.
Just finding those needles in a haystack.
Yep. So that's kind of now the transition we're going to do with some of when I'm not running new PPC, I'm take that budget and just really mine what we have in there. Obviously, I don't have the agents on the team now that I was just letting do that through the pawn system.
But most of them don't do it.
They wouldn't, right? And so that was always my thing. Even this week, where I was consistent, I'm like, God, these guys are missing out.
Dude, I got 18,000 leads right now. Yep. Like nobody's working them.
No, I know, and it's dumbfounding to me, but that's what happens. So, you know the drill. The same people, VAs, right? So.
All right, so 80,000 leads. You're probably going to put a VA, probably some automations, text messaging, and all of that stuff.
Yeah, we've always done sync. I am transitioning to Follow Boss, so we can run that, plus all my other outside lead sources for Client for Life stuff.
Gotcha.
So I'm taking on a whole CRM change along with everything else I'm doing.
So you're going to be moving all of those leads to Follow Up Boss? That's the plan?
We're going to focus on, obviously, Client for Life stuff, which is that 600 to 1,000, say. And then we really probably, in our top pawns, only have about 800 that are, we do hot, warm, and cool. So those nurture type stuff. That's what I'm going to focus on mostly.
Got you.
Once we transition to either a Sierra site or something, we'll get them access to it. We'll see who kind of goes from sync into that, and then we'll use that as kind of who's active or who's that low hanging fruit maybe, and obviously reach out there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess I can sell it, but
you can sell it.
Probably do something better with
interesting.
it. Interesting.
But I think you can probably get 1 or 2 closings out of it a month, like clockwork.
Oh, better, right?
Easy.
Easy.
I'm just thinking 80,000. If you just put somebody there, work those leads, like call those leads, they're going to find you the ones that are raising their hand and saying,
of course.
Yeah, I need help. Okay.
It's just implementing that at that scale. There's just too many right now to be able to
just do it in chunks.
So I think you're right. Just
do it in chunks. I think you're probably sitting at least $1 million in gross commission income there.
Hope, right?
At least minimum.
Yep.
$1 million.
Well, we'll need it till I
Gotta do
transition over. So
now you have more time, so you can bring somebody over. What are you doing in terms of like lead gen on the seller side, like getting listings?
Yeah, still, it's always been that past clients.
Yeah.
So I have 3 listing appointments this weekend, all referrals.
Wow.
And I hate to say it, I haven't been very tracking or what's the word I'm looking for? Intentional on going after that. So that's something that I've really taken with Tom Ferry. So I've got the listing leads site, listingleads.com, which is Mackin stuff, the old curator guy.
Yeah.
He's got a true system that kind of is email-based, text message, and then social media tie-ins, plus obviously direct mail. So that's something we want to implement. I just met with a guy over at Fellow to try to look into some of that for my database and try to generate some of that. I gotta say though, I've never been a expired FSBO type person.
Dude, with the database that you're working with,
I don't think I need to now. But that said, I would say
Yeah.
if I'm a new agent or something, there's no better for true listings, right, than going after that route.
I got a guy here on a podcast earlier today. In the last 100 days, from for sale by owners, he got 11 listings.
Awesome. Yep.
And he's not even calling that much if you think about it. So he just we set it up for him, the KV Core text messaging. Goes out every single day.
Sweet.
From that alone, he gets people that raise their hand, want to talk to him. He talks to them. He gets those listings.
And just tee up appointments.
Yeah. I mean that's low-hanging fruit. 100%. I mean, you start with that, and then eventually you build up, your pipeline of past clients. That's how you do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So. Awesome.
Got it. So when you go on a listing appointments, right, just out of curiosity, right, and I'm sure there's some agents that are asking, and I know a lot of them are past clients, come list me, and everything like that. But what's your process like? What's the approach?
So I still do a true presentation. I feel if I skip that, I'm setting myself up for mistakes. Now, there is the 10-minute one, right? If it's a come list me, we're not wasting time. But I think you'd agree, right? It all comes down to that DISC personality. So I'm not going to bore a high D personality with our marketing presentation. I'm going to go in and say, what do you want? Here's what we're going to,
let's have a drink.
Right? Exactly. So I got to say a lot of that, is just trial and error, and you figure out where it is. But I still go in, thank you for having me over, do the tour of the house, care less about the house. I'm trying to figure out their personality in that discussion.
Yeah.
They'll tell me how they want to be sold, meaning they're going to tell me what's most important. To me, that's their blueprint of what I need to focus on to get them to know, like, and trust me. Yeah. And then show them the reason to hire me, which is obviously our service. So the marketing is just creating demand, and justifying the price, economics 101.
Sure. Yeah.
But outside of that, it's truly just a system, same thing. So with having this gal kind of mentoring me, it's tough. The first thing I always ask her is, I'm mentoring her, right, to take over this, is what is that personality? When we leave, I want you to tell me, was that a D? Was that a C? Were the husband and wife different?
Right,
I don't care if you know about the marketing yet. You need to be able to recognize that and then adjust yourself. Yep. And we say what the secret of successful selling is that. So I'm a big, still firm believer in that whole concept. Seems to work okay for me. Granted, I've transitioned some listings over, and then obviously changing here. We only ended up with 2, which I'm getting canceled essentially this week. So oddly enough, I mean, in our heyday in the past year, we probably only had 14 at a time. I'm not running a big team. I have literally 2 listings right now, so I can't say I'm a huge listing agent.
No, that's fine. Listen, you got to start or restart somewhere. You're starting. Right. It is what it is.
It's kind of that downtime, which one of the reasons. Dude,
I got one listing right now. I mean, we got it under contract and everything like that. But at one point, I had 18, 19 listings, 20 listings at any given time. Dude, myself personally.
Yeah. Well, I just remember those glory days of when the market shift. Right, you're sitting on hundreds in inventory with that expense too. And I start looking at the days on market thinking, shit, maybe I'm not, it's nice only to have this little inventory currently.
Yeah, but listing is such a good thing. I mean, I tell my agents all the time, why don't you become a listing agent? Well, Alan, it's this and that. And I think it attributes to 2 things, competence and confidence. Yep. Most of them lack competence because they don't really know how to go out there and get listings. And because of that, there's no confidence involved. Sure. But this, listing homes is so much easier than working constantly with the buyers. I mean, if you have showing agents, it's one thing. But if you're going out there, you're driving around the valley and showing homes, dude, that's 30, 40, 50, 60 hours working with the buyer versus with the listing on the seller deal. Dude, it's no more than 10 hours, 15 hours max.
Well, and even more so now with these changes, right? As a listing agent, it's easy to get your fee. There's no even, I mean, I haven't had one person even bring up. Again, obviously buyer agents, you're setting your fee and you have that opportunity too. Yeah. But I mean, there's no better scale than listings, we all agree. But
dude, I mean, I like to call it a certainty, with the listings, right? Because for the most part, it's going to get sold. Yeah. Right? Whereas with the buyers, man, right now,
True. I mean, we've run usually statistically about a 50% success rate on signed buyers, right? It's how I always said. We're at 30 this year. I mean, it's just dismal. The amount of people that just change their mind, drop off face of the earth. I collect a retainer fee, and I never hear from them again. Like it just is what it is. The predictability in your business when you have listings, that's the key to it, right?
Yeah.
And you know that. So it's a matter of focusing there. Now with the showing agent model, it's really a 4-hour commitment probably for me to run a buyer. Hour for the appointments, hour for the inspection, an hour for the walkthrough, and
four
then
or 5 hours.
So I've looked at that seriously, and I still enjoy that side. And because it's all referral based, I don't mind. It's all about building systems. But to your point, if you want true predictability and know where your business is heading, it's all about the listing inventories. So we'll get back up there, but
you will. Yeah, you will, dude.
Get around to it. So.
Interesting. So you mentioned something about going back to the gym and all of that, right? So what do you do? What do you do for fun, right? Or like personal life, right? I mean, are you married? Kids? What do you got going on?
Awesome wife. We have a 3-year-old who's a little hellion right now. 2 daughters I have, and a 9-month-old. So I got the terrible 3, which that's keeping us on our toes. My wife's stay-at-home mom, bless her. She has got a full-time job above and beyond what I do.
If you think 3 is terrible, try it when she's 13.
Shit.
Like I got a 13-year-old right now, dude. Like she was she was late today to school. Right? So my wife is scrambling. It's already 8 o'clock. She's supposed to be already in school at 8 o'clock. She's late. And you know what she's doing? She's sitting and doing makeup. She's putting the blush. It's like 8 o'clock. I was like, what are you doing? Oh, Dad, no, you don't understand. I got to go to school and I got to look good. I was like, oh, you're 13 years old.
It begins, right? It's only going to get worse, too.
Anyway, so 3 years old, I tell you, it's
me,
cookies and the cream. I tell you that. It's nothing serious. When you're 12, 13 years old, especially girls, completely different level.
Oh, well, have those days to look forward to, I suppose. But honestly, man, we're just enjoying that time of our lives. And Kenny has something called Live with No Regrets, and it's really resonated with me. Like, he told me he spent a lot of his career and missed all that time with the family, right? And so one thing I'm adamant on, I want time. I don't want to look back that I missed my family and I wasn't there for things. Yeah. And again, I'm almost a single agent again here. So there are those days where I'm working late. My wife, bless her, is incredible support. But if it's between me taking an appointment or going to her gymnastics or something, like I'm going to do everything I can to try to be there for them. And that's really where my passion's driven recently. Having a 9-month-old that's that personality, remember, it's just kind of fun to see that. And so I'm enjoying there. Outside of that, I actually big into guns. I like to shoot.
Oh, so you got toys, huh?
Arsenal, if you will. But so I don't know what it is, but I enjoy building them. I got memberships at Baby Doors, and then several clients of mine.
Yeah.
I hate golf. I can't take 6-7 hours of my day out for something like that. So to be able to go shoot for an hour, blow off some steam, invite my clients, go have a beer or something, like that's fun to me.
That's what you
And I've got a great friend group. I mean, from ASU on, we've had a good setup. So, fantasy footballs, all that fun stuff. We get together and I see them quite a bit.
That's awesome, dude.
So we're just living the family life right now, man, which has been fun. So.
I love it. So, I don't know, man, 5 years from now, where do you see yourself?
Well, I'd like to grow this, if you want to call it hybrid model, right? Like that agent attraction. I really want to feel like I'm giving back. Something Lester did for me, I really feel it's my duty to give back to my agents what I was given from him, essentially. Mm-hmm. I mean, to be able to have a mentor that really taught me everything and to be able to have a database and a business and just somebody I can go to and talk with, right? Like, that to me is something I want to make sure my agents have. And so to be able to now be at Real where they don't have to be on my team, it's not on my expense and it's not everything I've got to invest in them, but to be able to show them value there, to help train other agents. We have that VIP buyer system, correct? Taught us, right? So I've done probably a dozen presentations, different brokerages in the last 6 months, just with the changes. It's been really fun just to get to meet all these agents, kind of show them what we do, and we brainstorm. And then so I think in 5 years, I'm going to be running a lot of kind of masterminds, workshops, just kind of that ability to give back there. Obviously, if there's a like attraction and we, alignment in the business, there's opportunity where I can grow, in that type of model. But frankly, I'm really still enjoying my, business of selling houses, and to have it systemized like we do, it really doesn't take a lot of time. And I've got an awesome partner in Becky to be able to handle a lot. So provided she's still kicking and helping me with that. So we'll see
No,
how we
man.
go. But
Yeah.
we've got a lot of VAs in the Philippines too that help out.
Yeah,
and, you know,
yeah.
that does a good
Yeah.
amount. So we'll see, man. I honestly, because of so many changes, and we've talked, just trying to find what my passion was and where I wanted to go. I feel like that not to say 10-year vision, but has changed, you know, from where I was 10 years from now. And I was like, all right, we're going to hit that 500 million. We're going to hit, you know, whatever these numbers were, crazy. It doesn't matter to me anymore. I'm okay selling 50 homes a year. If I get my freedom, if I have the profitability, right, I could sell 2 a month with no of these expenses or headaches that were, you know, driving me insane.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
how can I still give back? How can I be with my family and then still have that freedom, which is my big why? So I think I'll get back to you on that question, man. We'll do this again sometime, and I'll tell
let's
you
do
where
it,
I'm at,
man.
so.
All right, dude. Well, listen, if let's say somebody wants to get in touch with you, connect with you, Instagram. Probably the best
all
way.
of my
Facebook,
socials are
Instagram.
Bret
Yep.
with 1 T, Bret Johnson AZ.
Yep.
I do have kind of a video blog I've been doing again for those agents called our Better Together Academy.
What is it again?
Better Together Academy. It's on all socials. YouTube's better. The website's bettertogether.academy. And I just do video blogs. I have some guest speakers and things. And just ability to kind of give some tips on, you know, what to do for agents and listing presentations, shit like that. So that's been kind of fun. But check it out. And I'm an open book. I'm always happy to share and see if we can get some opportunity together. So.
All right, brother. Well, listen, I appreciate your time. Thanks for driving all the way from the
You're the man, dude. I
East
appreciate
Bay.
it. Yeah.
All right,
thank
man.
you.
And hopefully we'll do it again.
Yeah. Thank you, buddy. It was fun to see you.
All right, guys. Bret Johnson.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for listening to our conversation. I hope you like it. Now, if you want to see more of the same type of content on your feed, here's what you got to do. Hit subscribe or hit like, and hopefully I'll see you again in the future.